All right, finally, crankshaft is up and running. You can see the tablet is permanently mounted, though not in the best condition I would like it, but perhaps I can clean that up later. It's not 100% flush and it's a little dirty looking. But regardless, it's not going anywhere now, so it's definitely in there. So the first thing I want to show you is the backup camera. So I actually did get the backup camera working. So I'm going to go ahead and put my car in reverse now. You heard that. So there it is. I go in reverse, my backup camera displays, and the quality is really good. So it's way better quality than in the stock camera, that's for sure. It's probably, it's a 5 megapixel camera, but I think that's probably the highest quality it's going to get, around 1080p there. All right, so backup camera works. All right, now let's actually get the Android Auto stuff going. So I'll go ahead and connect that to show you all the features there. So phone is connected, as you can see. It takes about 5-10 seconds to come up. So I'll go ahead and play some music. So sound quality is really good. So as you remember before, I mentioned that I was getting a lot of noise. That noise is now gone because I'm using digital audio out directly to a DSP, and it's a very clean noise path. So that sounds really good. So next thing, phone calls. That wasn't working before. Let me call myself. So
please enter your password, then press pound.
So clearly that's working. It's not muted. You can actually hear the sound. It rang. It did everything you need to do.
Please enter your password, then press pound.
Even though it says Bluetooth is not connected, that doesn't matter. I'm using an external Bluetooth adapter, so it doesn't matter if it's not connected.
Please enter your password, then press pound.
All right, that's getting really annoying. I'm going to go ahead and hang up. Okay. I do need to fix the problem where the gain of the voice calls is way lower than the gain of the actual audio. So I have a way to fix that. I'll deal with that later. But that's working. All right, voice commands. Go to the nearest gas station. Alright. Well, I guess it's navigating to the nearest gas station. I don't know which gas station that is, but it came up. And you can see it actually accepted my command. Let's do something else. Go to the nearest Burger King.
Burger King, alright.
So, you can clearly see navigation's working, and it's really smooth. I mean, the quality, again, very high definition, I guess I could say, and it looks really good. Again, it's running off a Pi, so you have to manage your expectations. Alright, so everything looks good. Sound, audio, backup camera, voice commands, phone calls, it's all working. So one other thing I want to show you, which is kind of cool, I can actually use my own sound app. So I'll stop that, because the stock sound app in Android Auto is quite limiting. So if I do this, there you go. Now I'm using Power Amp, and I'm able to control the audio the way I want it. I can go forward and backward. I've got choose the music the way I want it. So that pretty much takes care of everything. And hey, see, my wife's calling, and that function works too. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. And I just wanted to show you how I got everything working. From here, you will see exactly what I did to get to this point. It was a lot of work, so hang tight. Seeing camera. So basically, I put my reverse signal into there, and it allows the system to shut down, to basically fire off the reversing camera, and that way I don't have to worry about pushing a button to manually, set up the reverse camera. It'll just come in on its own. So here's all the reverse camera stuff. There's the little adapter for that. You look at the back of this thing, it's really bulky now. I've got 4 hats on there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the hi-fi digis at the top. I've got this little breakout board, which I love, which breaks out the GPIO pins and lets you to be able to access the GPIO pins with screw terminals. So it's way easier to put wires in there. You don't have to do any soldering or anything fancy like that. That's the Pi, and then that's the board for the monitor. So that little dongle's hanging out there. That's going to be for my, I'm kind of worried about that, but that's going to be for my camera. Then there's some USB stuff hanging out. There's my microphone. So I went to a USB microphone. I was not able to use the 3.5mm microphone. Again, that's just issues and limitations with the system. It just doesn't work really well. So, and this is going to be my housing for my camera. This is going to extend the camera to go to the back, so it's going to be HDMI all the way back. So those are all the parts. One other part that I forgot to mention, this is a fuse tap. So this is going to make the wiring into the delayed accessory a lot easier. So really, to power this thing, it's really easy. Again, you can use a harness, but I actually like using these instead, because you know you're getting all the power you need because it's coming directly from a straight feed. And it's fused.
Lake Boulevard,
So, there goes the, okay, anyways. So it's fused. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start wiring all this stuff in. So before I get into the physical wiring, I wanna show you the wiring configuration I have for my GPIO layout on my Raspberry Pi. So I just wanna go over the highlights of this thing. So in red, you can see that I kind of blocked off certain GPIO pins. And those blocked off pins are used for my hi-fi Berry Digi. So the remaining ones, I just got two GPIOs I'm using, GPIO 23 and GPIO 24. Now coming off of that, I've got a 12-volt relay trigger. So for the reverse camera, I'm going to trigger off of my reverse camera wire a relay, a 12-volt relay, and that's going to kick a normally closed contact to be normally open. And GPIO is kind of funny. So what happens is that when it's closed, it actually shows that it's not triggered, because it needs a reference to read through, essentially. So when it's closed, it can see the 3.3 volts and it says, okay, I'm untriggered. So when I want to go into reverse, it will open that up and then it'll say that the GPIO 24 is triggered. So that's how I have that. The other one I have is going to the illumination wire, and that's going to be added later to add to the illumination feature, so that when I turn on my lights, it can effectively go into a night mode. So the other thing that I just want to show is that I got my 12 volts coming in to a 12 volt to 5 volt DC to DC transformer. And coming out of that, I have USB going directly into my Pi. You can see at the top there that that's my Pi. So that's pretty much it. My GPIO layout is pretty simple, but the key thing to understand is that normally closed contact to 3.3 volt connection. Originally I tried going to ground, which is why it looked a lot cleaner before, but I realized I had to have some kind of voltage reference or a pull-down resistor. Pull-up resistor. So instead of putting a pull-up resistor in series, I just decided to use the 3.3 volts. So that's why it looks like that. So this is just a generic layout. This is for a Raspberry Pi 3. So I wanted to show that. And now that we have it on concept on paper, let's see what it looks like on the real thing. The wiring now. So this is crankshaft 2.0. So in here we've got a big mess of wires. Right here you can see an HDMI cable. So that HDMI cable is for the camera. Camera's right here. So see, there's a little camera module. It's going to plug into that right there. Just like that. And that's going to give me my camera feed. Have you seen this? This is for my digital audio. This is for an actual USB extender. I've got that ran into here. So when I want to plug USB ports in, I can just plug in off of that. This is the power. So this is a powered USB hub. And that power is provided by this little ghetto piece here. Oh my god. So you can see what I did is I actually took a cigarette lighted USB charger. I took it apart and I plugged it in to, I put 12 volts and a ground into that. So I tapped into that cigarette lighter so it no longer has to be plugged into my little cigarette lighter, and instead it just goes direct power off of 12 volts and a ground. So I don't recommend most people do that, but I'm pretty comfortable with my wiring skills, so I did that. So that's USB, and that powers my USB hub. So, oh man, you can't see that, it's so dark. But there's a fuse tap in there. This is where my fuse is, and that's where I'm getting my 12 volts from now. So I decided not to get it off the harness. Instead, I'm tapping directly off of a fused 12 volt accessory wire so that I can control the amount of power going to it. This will give me a lot more power on tap, and that just covers up like that. But that's pretty poor video right there, so I'm just going to move on to the next one. So yeah, I just want to show this real quick. So this is the back of my car. This is where that HDMI cable goes to. So there's my old camera. I'm going to put a new camera in probably right here. Place that light. Okay. I've never shown this before. Let me open this up real quick. This is really ghetto in here, man. I wish I had more light, but that's my DSP. So that is what provides. But you can see I've got RCA in there right there, and that's the RCA. That's actually giving me my sound. And then this is the digital right here. So that's also providing sound. So that's the digital in. This is the RCA in. That RCA goes to my Bluetooth module, which is hanging right here. So I ran wire all the way back from my DSP up my A pillar and to this module right here. So this is my Bluetooth. This provides my Bluetooth to make my hands-free calls. So yes, the hands-free calling does work now, finally, because I used just a standalone Bluetooth module, and it goes RCA out, so it doesn't even touch my Raspberry Pi. I don't have to worry about the Raspberry Pi doing the processing. It's all basically just done on its own. And to power it, I actually have a cigarette lighter in here. I'll just go ahead and pull that down. Boom. Right there. So there's a little cigarette lighter. Again, that's powered off of that little 12 volt accessory that I have off that fuse tap. And I just actually took a real 2 USB connector and basically made my own little cigarette lighter extender. So now I can power USB up in my head, basically up here. And the other USB powers my dash cam. So then the other thing is that right here, this is what I'm using for my microphone for my Google Now. So it's actually a camera, but it also has a mic built into it. I found that the mic quality on that is really good. So that's it. Wiring is done. I still got to obviously clean up and connect the camera, but that's pretty much it. So I'm going to button everything up. I'm actually going to connect everything. And finally, we can fire this thing up with the camera, with everything connected, and it should all work. Okay, one other quick thing I want to show before I fire this thing up and try to get the auto backup camera to work. So this is my relay board. So you can see that coming out of the relay, I've got 2 wires. One is the normally open contact and one is the common, the ground. And that goes through these quick disconnects here so that I can always disconnect my Pi if I want to. It's not hardwired in. That goes to my GPIO board right there. So that corresponds to the GPIO pins that I showed on the wiring diagram for the backup camera. And then that's hard to see because it's dark in there, but the reverse wire is that yellow wire, and then I've got an accessory wire giving in 12 volts and a ground in there. That's it. So that's, as long as you can find your reverse wire, this is pretty easy. Okay, I verified that my wiring is correct now, so you can see inside of there the little relay board, that green light showing that the power's on. So I'm going to go ahead and put my car into reverse. And that kicked on the relay. You can even hear it click. And now I'm out of reverse and the relay clicked back off. So my wiring is great. Good. So let's go ahead and get the code going. I think I could put this project to bed. So I've got most of the functionality I want. I got the backup camera working. I've got the high quality sound. I've got the OK Google working. I've got everything working. The only thing that I don't have working is the steering wheel controls. I'm going to do that in a separate video. I've actually got parts for that as well. I'm going to do that using Arduino, and it's going to be pretty interesting, so hang tight for that one. But I do think I've spent enough time on getting this set up, and it's mostly working. So on to the next project. So if you like what you see, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.